Welcome to the Olive Grove Podcast.
Oh.
You ready to dive deep into some seriously fascinating scripture? Today,
Okay.
we're cracking open Isaiah chapter 65 from the Complete Jewish Bible Translation.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
This chapter is packed with vivid imagery and promises about God's coming kingdom. There's so much to unpack.
Right from the start, verse
Yeah.
1,
Okay.
it hits us with this idea that God makes himself known,
Mm-hmm.
even to those who aren't actively seeking him.
Interesting.
It's like he's saying,
Yeah.
hey, I'm here,
Right.
even to folks outside of Israel who recognize a divine creator.
That's what's so powerful here. It
Yeah.
challenges this idea that God is exclusive or
Yes.
hard to find.
Right.
He's constantly reaching out,
Yeah.
making himself known in various ways.
Hmm.
Think about it.
Yeah.
You, our listener,
Yeah.
you're here exploring Scripture,
Yeah.
which itself is a form of God revealing himself.
It's like he's always initiating,
Mm-hmm.
inviting us into a relationship. But as we see throughout Isaiah 65,
Yeah,
people respond to that invitation in different ways.
absolutely.
Isaiah paints a picture of two groups,
Okay.
those who rebel and those who seek God.
Okay. And the way Isaiah describes their actions
Yeah.
is so striking.
Yeah.
Sacrificing in gardens,
Right.
indulging in forbidden foods.
Right.
These aren't just random acts.
No.
They represent a deliberate turning away from God's guidance. It's like they're saying,
Yeah.
we'll do things our own way, thanks.
Yet even amidst this rebellion,
Mm-hmm.
God doesn't give up.
He doesn't.
He chooses to preserve a faithful remnant,
Right.
comparing them to good grapes amidst a bunch of rotten ones.
Yeah. It's,
It makes me think about how God sees the good even in the midst of messiness.
it's a powerful image of grace, isn't it?
It is.
It reminds me that no matter how widespread rebellion or negativity seems,
Yeah.
God is always at work,
Mm-hmm.
seeking out those who are aligned with him.
Right.
It gives me hope,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that faithfulness has an impact even if it feels small.
Totally. And then we get to the good stuff,
Yeah.
the blessings of the kingdom.
Okay.
Isaiah 65 just bursts with these incredible descriptions.
Yeah.
Long lifespans,
Mm-hmm.
secure homes, no more weeping or infant mortality.
Wow.
It's like a glimpse into a world completely transformed.
These blessings aren't just about material comfort, though, are they?
No, I don't think so.
They speak to deeper longings
Right.
for safety, for peace,
Mm-hmm.
for a world where suffering and loss are no more.
You know, as we're talking about this,
Yeah.
it strikes me that these longings are so universal.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think people throughout history,
Yeah,
regardless of their beliefs,
I agree.
have yearned for this kind of world?
Absolutely. It taps into something fundamental about the human experience.
Mm-hmm.
We're wired for peace, for connection,
Yeah.
for a world where things are made right.
Yeah.
Isaiah 65 gives us a language for those longings,
Ah.
a framework for hope.
And it's not just wishful thinking.
Mm.
Right.
No.
The chapter concludes by emphasizing that God's promises are sure,
Okay.
rooted in his faithfulness.
Right.
The use of the past tense in verse 25,
Mm-hmm.
where it says said rather than says.
Okay.
It's like God saying, this is as good as done. I've kept my promises before and I'll keep them again.
It's incredibly reassuring.
It is.
Especially when we look at the state of the world today.
Yeah.
There's so much brokenness.
Yeah.
So much uncertainty.
Right.
But Isaiah 65 reminds us that God is in control.
Hmm.
And his plan is ultimately one of redemption and restoration.
And speaking of restoration,
yeah.
we wanted to take a quick moment to highlight a group doing amazing work in that very area,
Okay.
Enduring Freedom Ministries.
They're doing incredible things, especially in Jerusalem.
They are.
One of their current goals is to establish a food pantry in Jerusalem
Wow.
to provide essential support to those in need,
Mhm.
which is a beautiful way to demonstrate God's love in a practical way. We want to encourage you, dear listener,
Yes.
if you feel led to consider donating to this worthy cause.
Absolutely. It's amazing to see faith put into action like that,
Right.
meeting tangible needs in a place that holds such significance for so many of us.
And speaking of connecting with others who are passionate about faith
Yeah.
and exploring Scripture,
Yeah.
we wanted to invite you to join the My Christian Space community.
Oh, that's a great idea.
It's a fantastic place to connect with like-minded individuals,
Mm-hmm.
share thoughts,
Yeah.
ask questions, and dive deeper into your faith journey.
It's such a rich resource, and it complements these deep dives perfectly.
It does.
Now, back to Isaiah 65.
Okay.
We were talking about the certainty of God's promises.
Yeah.
It's like a beacon of light shining into a world that often feels dark and chaotic.
Absolutely.
Don't you think?
It's a powerful reminder that even when things seem hopeless, God is still in control. His plans are bigger than our circumstances. And his promises are sure. And the way Isaiah describes those promises, it's not just dry theological statements, is it? It's like poetry, filled with vivid imagery that captures the imagination. I mean, who wouldn't want to live in a world where wolves and lambs are chilling out together?
That's like a total mind shift. Wolves and lambs, lions eating straw like oxen. It's almost comical to picture. But then you realize Isaiah is using these tangible images to convey deep spiritual truths about the peace and harmony that will permeate creation in God's kingdom.
It really challenges us to think differently, doesn't it? We're so used to seeing conflict, division, even in the animal world. But Isaiah is pointing to a future where those boundaries are blurred, where even predator and prey exist in harmony.
It's a radical vision of unity and restoration, like a glimpse into the restored Garden of Eden where creation is in perfect balance. But let's be real for a second. We live in a world that's far from perfect. We see conflict, suffering, and injustice everywhere. So how do these promises of a future kingdom impact our lives in the here and now?
That's the question, isn't it? For me, it's about perspective. These promises remind us that the brokenness we see around us isn't the end of the story. There's a bigger narrative unfolding, a narrative of redemption and restoration.
So it's not about escaping the present, but about seeing the present through the lens of hope.
Exactly. These promises give us a reason to persevere, to keep fighting for justice, to keep loving even when it's hard, because we know that ultimately God's purposes will prevail.
It's like having a roadmap, knowing the destination, even though the journey might be bumpy.
And that's where faith comes in, right?
Yeah.
It's about trusting that even when we can't see the full picture, God is working behind the scenes, orchestrating everything according to his perfect plan.
This reminds me of something we touched on earlier, the idea that God hears our prayers even before we speak them. It's another one of those mind-blowing promises in Isaiah 65.
Isn't it amazing? It speaks to the depth of intimacy God desires with us. He knows our hearts so deeply that he anticipates our needs.
It's a pretty mind-blowing concept. The creator of the universe cares about the details of our lives, attuned to our every thought and whisper.
It's a powerful reminder that we're not alone in our struggles. God is with us every step of the way, listening, guiding, and sustaining us.
It's like having a constant companion, a confidant who knows us better than we know ourselves.
And who loves us unconditionally even when we mess up, which is something Isaiah 65 doesn't shy away from, right? It shows us the reality of human rebellion, the consequences of choosing our own way over God's cause. But even in the midst of that, there's this overwhelming sense of grace.
Yes, it's like no matter how far we stray, God is always waiting with open arms, ready to welcome us back. That's the heart of the gospel message, isn't it?
Yeah.
Grace, forgiveness, new beginnings.
And that message resonates just as powerfully today as it did thousands of years ago when Isaiah first spoke these words. It's a timeless message that speaks to the deepest longings of the human heart, the craving for peace, for wholeness, for a world where love prevails.
And Isaiah 65 gives us a glimpse of what that world could look like. It's a vision that can inspire us, challenge us, and ultimately fill us with hope.
This has been an incredible conversation. Isaiah 65 is such a rich chapter, packed with profound insights. But, the exploration doesn't have to end here.
We've only scratched the surface in this deep dive. We encourage you to keep exploring this chapter on your own, dig deeper into its meaning, and let its message transform your heart.
And remember, connecting with others who are on a similar journey can make the experience even richer. So if you haven't already, we highly recommend joining the My Christian Space community.
It's a place where you can share your thoughts, ask questions, and connect with like-minded individuals who are passionate about exploring faith and Scripture. And if you're looking for ways to put your faith into action, we encourage you to check out the work of Enduring Freedom Ministries.
Their efforts to establish a food pantry in Jerusalem are truly inspiring. It's a tangible way to demonstrate God's love and to make a difference in the lives of those in need. You can find out more about their work and how to support them through their website. And speaking of staying connected, we also want to invite you to subscribe to the Olive Grove podcast on YouTube.
That's where you'll find all our deep dives along with other great content to help you grow in your faith.
And for early access to future deep dives, be sure to visit the My Christian Space website.
We're always adding new content, so you won't want to miss out. We've covered a lot of ground today, but there's still so much more to explore in Isaiah 65. As you continue reflecting on this chapter, we want to leave you with a final thought. What if the harmony described in Isaiah 65 isn't just about wolves and lambs getting along?
What if it's a call for us to seek harmony in our own lives, in our relationships, in our communities? What if the peace that God promises isn't just something we wait for in the future, but something we can actively cultivate in the present?
That's something to ponder, isn't it? Until next time, keep seeking, keep exploring, and keep trusting in the God of truth and promises.